The S-Class stakes claim to being the best car in the world, and in 2016 it was the best-selling luxury saloon. Well, with a mid-cycle upgrade, Mercedes are looking to improve on even that. The changes include some plastic surgery to the outside, few nips and tucks to the interior, and the big changes really are a new set of engines. And of course, the car that's all about sitting in the back seat and enjoying the comfort of it will now allow the driver to take a back seat as well. Yes, it's going to have semi-autonomous driving. We're waiting to test it out. So let's see how the best car gets better. At first glance, it's the same car, but when you look again, you notice there's a new grille, redesigned headlamps that look like a giant thumb and 3 fingers holding the circular lamp. There's also some additional chrome garnish and more pronounced air intakes. The rear bumper gets some tweaks too, and the tailpipes are integrated into the lower bumper area with a chrome garnish that runs from end to end. Well, there's very few changes on the inside. You do get some new options of materials, but the big change really is this single screen TFT display. Now it's no longer 2 screens. The dials and the multimedia system is all integrated into one flat screen. And the other difference is that inside this you get an induction charger for your phone. On closer examination, you do notice other differences, like the touch-sensitive control buttons on the steering that respond to swipes like a smartphone. The steering also now houses buttons to operate the cruise control. The voice command system also gets an upgrade, allowing you to adjust vehicle functions as well. There's also something called energizing comfort. This optional feature systematically uses the functions of climate control, the seats, as well as lighting and musical atmospheres to enable a specific wellness setup tailored to the mood and need of the customer. Well, my mood was already pretty upbeat and I wanted to get behind the wheel and experience the other changes. Winding my way around the Swiss countryside, I began to get a feel of the petrol S560. This is a new 4-litre V8 that replaces the old 4.7-litre unit we've seen in the Maybach as the S500. Now this new V8 engine has been downsized and power has been upgraded. And out on the road it feels nice and strong, it's responsive, it springs to life nicely. But what works really well with it is the 9-speed gearbox. It's responsive, so even a gentle dab on the throttle will bring you down a gear and you leap forward, you get a lot of power. Unfortunately, this engine will not make its way to our shores, but what we will see is the 9-speed gearbox for all variants of the S-Class. Globally, Mercedes have the new inline-6 engines for both diesel and petrol variants. However, in India, it's a different story. The petrol will remain the V6 with a power upgrade, but that was not on offer for testing, so we didn't get our hands on it. However, what we did get our hands on for a short while was the straight-6 diesel S400, which will make its way to India in a lower state of tune. What I can tell you about this new straight-6 engine is that it's extremely refined. Responses are strong and come from very low down the rev band, and it will carry you up to 3-digit speeds really quick. After a very short stint in the diesel, it was back to the petrol to experience the other tech. And that's just it about this car. You know, it's the whole manner of this car. You can drive at a good clip from place to place. You know, the fact that you feel like you haven't really driven that much when you're driving this car is going to be something that gets quite genuine, because we now have semi-autonomous driving in the S-Class, and that's what I'm going to check out. You need to activate the cruise control to be able to use these functions, so that's what I did. Okay, so now I'm in cruise control. I have set it to the speed limit and the car is doing all the driving for me, as you can see. It slows down for corners, it's keeping the distance to the car in front of me. It's braking into turns. It's a bit eerie and I keep feeling like I need to put my hands back on the steering wheel. But honestly, I'm doing about 86 kilometers an hour now. It slows down, as you can see, for the sharper corners. And it's given me a warning to put my hands back on the steering wheel, so I'm going to do just that. have to say that the system works really well. You know, if you need to give your phone some attention, you're cruising down a highway, it will definitely do the job for you while you take your attention off the road and then get it back again. Of course, when you want to take turns, then it does warn you to get your hands back on the steering wheel. And what's really great about it is it sees the speed limit and it keeps up with the speed limit. If the speed limit comes down, even though you may have set it in a higher speed, it will come down to the required speed limit as well. To negotiate roundabouts and junctions, the system asks you to take back control. And what's great is that the notifications all come up on an ultra-clear heads-up display, which I was still focused on because even though the car did the driving, I was too worried to take my eyes off the road. Now, though you may have a preset limit to the cruise control based on your current speed, the active speed limit assistant will recognize the speed limit signs and slow down or speed up accordingly to ensure you never get a ticket. And like I previously mentioned, it will also slow down or speed up for bends depending on their gradient and your chosen driving mode. There are a host of other assistive systems that will work in tandem, like active brake assistant that will detect the end of a traffic jam ahead. It will even brake for cross traffic and could even avoid pedestrians. The S will also change lanes for you at the mere flick of an indicator, keeping in mind the traffic around you. And you can even have the car park itself for you via a smartphone app. This works in parallel and perpendicular spaces, both forward and reverse. These systems use radar, cameras and GPS positioning to function and pick off the environment where things like lane markings and speed signs can be seen. So of course, these won't make their way to India. But they definitely let us know that Mercedes-Benz is well on their way to autonomy globally. And with these systems making me take the back seat as a driver, that's exactly what I did. Went to the back seat. The back seat of the S-Class has always been a supremely comfortable place, and it is still so. Not much has changed around here. I think the only difference is this induction charging pad which one has for the phones, and these lovely soft cushion headrests make it so comfortable to sit back here. Of course, you know, you have all the seat recline functions, which means you can actually kick back and kick quite far back and take a good nap. You have all the bells and whistles, cooler box, storage space, USB ports, sun blinds, rear seat entertainment, and of course this nice panoramic sunroof. So it's all there to make sure that you're traveling in the lap of luxury. There's new tech that helps here too. The S-Class's curve inclination function is another comfort enhancement. The body tilts to the inside of the bend by up to 2.65 degrees, thereby reducing the lateral forces acting on the passengers. There's magic body control as well that uses the stereo camera to see the road ahead and prepare the suspension for it. The new S-Class is expected in India in the first half of next year. Now, the new S-Class may not have changed a lot on the outside, but 6,500 components, that's a lot. It's unfortunate that most of the new technology will not make its way to India with the restrictions we have on radar use. And of course, the recent statements by our government proclaiming that autonomous driving is not something they want to promote. Changes we will see are the cosmetic changes and the changes under the hood. Whilst the petrol will remain the V6 in a new state of tune and become the S450, the new straight 6 diesel will make its way to India in a lower state of tune as the S350D. Now, that's a good thing because these new engines are creamy smooth, they come with better performance and the promise of better fuel efficiency. But what works for India and our conditions is that back seat. It still remains one of the best this side of an airline first class.